When it comes to the idle modes in Marshmallow, I've been saying that developers don't need to worry, and probably don't need to change any code either. But you do need to test your app. I'm Joanna Smith, and by now you should know that you can't escape the testing beast. Some quick background. There's nothing worse for a user than trying to take a picture of their dog being cute, only to see that their battery is at 6% and then turning on the camera kills their phone? Protecting the battery is why we created an idle mode that the system can place your app in if it hasn't been active in a while. And while this may sound scary, the best advice I have for you as a developer is to do nothing. Because App Standby is smart. It won't happen to the apps that the user interacts with, or that have activities and services running in the foreground, or that have notifications pending in the tray. App Standby is designed to restrict background syncs and jobs for applications that the user isn't interested in right now. So when your app is being used, it doesn't need to worry about this, and when it isn't, it shouldn't actually notice that it's idle, which is why my advice is to do nothing. Except, test your app. There is that. Testing how well your app recovers from an idle mode is critical to understanding what your users might see, so you need to be certain that any expected notifications are generated properly, that downstream messages trigger the correct response, immediately for high priority or delayed for normal, and that delayed messages and syncs are processed cleanly, both in the daily maintenance window and after your app is released from idle mode. To help you, we created a new ADB service that will let you toggle in and out of App Standby. So you need a device or an emulator running Marshmallow, and then you need to open your app and leave it running. And then to force your app into App Standby, you first need to instruct the device not to pull any power from the cable connecting it to your computer, because being plugged in means we aren't worried about battery anymore. Then use set inactive true or false to toggle into or out of App Standby, and get inactive will let you check the current state. By toggling the status, you'll know what to expect, and you can observe whether your app is behaving properly. Theoretically, there should be no surprises, since all of the background work that doesn't happen when idle should run as soon as the idle mode is released and nothing is lost. And any foreground work means you aren't going into idle mode in the first place. But if you notice something funny while testing, you can modify your approach. GCM messages marked with a high priority tag will reach your app even through App Standby, so that you can react to important information coming from your server. And wake locks and alarms are honored in this idle mode, so if you need to react to a particular time, you can. But for most apps, there should be very little work involved, which means that this time, all you need is to test your code and then take a nap in order to build better apps.